You know, there comes a time when you probably ought to stop broadcasting. I probably should have quit about 5 years before I passed.
I think we should have quit about 20 years ago.
What am I, an accountant? What do I know? Somebody said something, Lenny says, I'll get it. He falls off the back of the stage, takes down a couple of the prop trees we got. Down goes Lenny. I said, boy, what was in that water? Well, it wasn't water. I love Lenny Kitson.
Get through what you got to get through, Scott. We'll come back around to it.
We only deal in truth here.
Oh, my God. What world am I living in? Scott Barter's making me laugh.
Don't you feel a little stupid?
My Chester model is only
12.5. extra 2,500 gets you the. Yeah.
This certainly beats the $9.99 blow-up doll I got in my closet right now.
I think that was like $19.99.
Well, you got the half price discount, didn't you? After my wedding. Was a virgin sacrifice?
Not that I recall. We couldn't find one.
And not in Kenosha anyway. Right? Go over there this afternoon. Throw your worm in the water. See how that works out.
Throw your worm in the water means something different in Los Angeles.
Well, it means about the same thing here in Kenosha. Wow. Things haven't changed.
Things haven't changed.
Hell of a show. Dead people and perverts and degenerates. Kind of fits right in here. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. This is Uncle Scotty Barter, and welcome to the November 18th edition of the Kenosha City Weekly Report, coming to you live from Studio A here at AM 1050 WLIP. On your radio dial, streaming worldwide and booming across the cold, rainy, and now snowy cornfields of the Midwest, reaching out to over 50,000 homes here in the Tri-County area. Being brought to you this morning by our major sponsors, the Boathouse Pub and Eatery and the legendary Broad Stop, along with a host of many other very fine local businesses. Joining us this morning, our Director of Cybersecurity, a former CEO of Equifax, and now the head engineer of Do Over Kenosha. Elmo Schneider is here. Elmo, welcome.
Good morning, everyone.
We're going to have our announcement. We're working on the Kenosha Today Toy Express to accumulate toys and give them to a... we have a couple of different places we want to give them to, and we're going to do this. We just don't know where we're going to give them yet.
I thought we were changing that to the fundraiser for the Kenosha Today Production Team Women and Liquor Fund.
Instead of giving toys to snot-nosed little kids?
Right, yeah.
Oh, well, Todd's probably got his car going. He's out of here. Also joining us this morning, our video coordinator, the master of being politically incorrect, Spider Ronnie, the wrong way camera dude. Done just to capture all the action as it happens. Ron was doing some work at Barter Manor this week, and he was up on the ladder and had some issues with his pants falling down to the pants on the ground, and all my neighbors across the street pull their shades down.
I can't understand why. The moon was rising full by Barter Manor.
He's looking at the security cameras. That one ugly dude. And engineering the Kenosha Today trolley ride this morning, Kenosha School District's new female dress code advisor, Wacky Wayne.
Yes.
Hey, no, we're not going to be reading of you groping anybody in the paper like every day.
We got better odds on you groping somebody than me. I mean, really.
I'm an old groper.
I know.
I did laugh.
With many skills.
My skills have deteriorated.
No, you
not by choice.
Right, no.
Also joining us this morning, our very special guest, 65th District State Representative Todd Onstead graces our presence here at Camp Happy Face. Todd, welcome.
Well, good morning, and I can see this is a serious bunch that I'm with this morning.
Very serious.
Well, let me start. Samantha Kirkman was here a couple weeks ago, and she brought in her boys. There were 8 and 6, kind of like a babysitting thing. So, all right, be honest now, Todd.
Well, I could have brought my puppy and Henry. He would have livened up the act.
I saw your car when you pulled it. Peter Bark is out in the car, and you left him there for the whole hour, didn't you?
Oh, no. I'm sure Peter's somewhere in the district today, but not with me.
Once again, the Kenosha Today Secret Word Challenge is sponsored by Mike Bjorn's Clothing, located in downtown Kenosha, offering the biggest selection of men's suits in all of southeastern Wisconsin and northern Illinois, starting at only $179 with some sizes ranging from 34 short to 48 long. And for only $199, you can get sizes 50 to 60. And in both cases, you get a shirt, tie, belt, pair of socks, and you can find them on Facebook or find them. Call them at 262-652-0648. And 2 weeks ago, the secret word was when we turned the clocks back. It was dark, which was won by nobody. Sometimes this show, like I've always said, can be way too intense.
Very cerebral.
For some of these folks. And anyway, the Kenosha Day Brain Trust has pre-selected this morning's secret word, and the first caller to say that will win $25 gift certificate, compliments of Mike Bjorn's Clothing. Coming up after the 10:30 break, the Lightning Round of City in Jeopardy, sponsored by the Boathouse. And then after 11 o'clock, we have the top 10 thought-provoking category. And this week's top 10 is the top 10 Kenosha Today winter driving tips.
It'd probably be handy since there's
Well,
snow
we
out
had
there.
that blizzard of barely a 1-inch dusting about a week ago, and it caused havoc. But we're going to offer our top 10 trips, and we can get to. And then, by the way, after the 11:30 break, our special editorial segment sponsored by the legendary Brat Stop. Todd, have you been here before when we do this? As the Brat turns. See, you have. That's about as serious we're going to get.
That's right.
High fives, zingers, doofuses, and then gets better tomorrow. We can replay this show at noon each and every Sunday, and we can get to this other stuff later. But we want to get to Todd. If you have a question, 262-694-1050, and I guess the big news, Todd, is the approval of Foxconn, and the state approved the I-94 land deal, which has been seemingly going on in the courts in someplace for 3 years. And I guess the fair question right out of the blocks is, when this Foxconn was going on in committee, you had voted against it, right?
I did, in committee. It was in the Jobs and Economy Committee where I was the Democrat ranking minority member on that committee. So I spent literally 10 days preparing for that committee, reading not only the bill, but also as much on Foxconn as I ever care to read, I assure you.
It was quite lengthy, right? It was a couple hundred pages, or?
Oh, the bill was long, but there was also a lot of additional information on the new technology that they're going to be building at Foxconn, and of course, a lot of the reports coming out of Asia on Foxconn. So it was a complicated bill, complicated project.
So the reason you voted against it initially was because of? The
reason I voted against it is during committee, Democrats offered 22 different amendments that we felt would have made the project better, and each and every one of those was voted down unfortunately on a partisan basis.
You think, huh? That's really
not as a big surprise, but we thought that there was some common sense amendments on clawbacks and some other things that we might have been able to get a few members of the Republican Party to vote for, but we didn't. So on that particular day, in hopes that we could still make some changes, perhaps on the floor of the Assembly, I voted no in committee, but was happy to join with my colleagues, Peter Barca, Corey Mason from Racine, and also Jason Fields from Milwaukee. He would also eventually end up voting for it as well after it came back from the Senate.
No, those were all Democratic representatives from basically southeastern Wisconsin. What about the Democratic representatives from other parts of the state? How did they fare into this?
Well, other than those four, other than us four Democrats, it was the rest of the Democrats voted against. And if I was living in Eau Claire or La Crosse or Wausau, it would be a different equation in terms of whether or not this was the best bill possible for the entire state. That being said, I don't think that there's any question in my mind that Foxconn is the best project for southeastern Wisconsin that certainly has been offered. I think that it has this promise of thousands of jobs and really will make a difference in terms of creating a booming economy.
No, the issue that right before it went to the final vote did not, Mayor Anaranian said, hey, thanks, but no thanks. And give me your thoughts on that issue.
Sure, and I think that John made the right call there, both in the Assembly and also in the Senate. The amendments that passed were the amendments that were essentially offered by Mount Pleasant, and the amendments that were proposed by both the city and the county of Kenosha. Those amendments were not passed, and consequently, you could kind of see that the project was being steered towards Mount Pleasant, and certainly I understand the politics behind that, but I think that Mayor Antaramian, recognizing that the amendments that he needed in order to make the project work for Kenosha had not passed, and he wanted to make sure that that if Foxconn came and said, okay, we now select Kenosha, that he would not be really in a place where he could accept that proposal at that time. And he also recognizes, as I do, that a lot of the benefits of Foxconn will be shared with Kenosha, whether we have the burden of creating all of the infrastructure that will be required from Foxconn in Kenosha. We're still going to have the employment levels. We're still going to have the economic boom.
We are talking to Representative Todd Onstead. If you have a question for him, 262-694-1050. I thought, apparently, John Anaranian, and I thought he did a great job of saying no to you, to Foxconn, before they were going to say no to him. And I think he had the feeling, as a lot of people did, that this was not going to end up in Kenosha. I mean, that's the feeling I had.
Yes, and I think so too, but I think he was also concerned that Foxconn might have said yes to him, and the legislation at that time had already been passed without the Kenosha amendments, both from the county that were offered by both the county and the city, and I think that he was concerned that if they said yes, how does that look, having to turn them down at that point?
Yeah. And so then, just this last week, the Wisconsin Department of Administration gave their blessing to this massive cooperative land development that included Paris, which is on the west side of I-94, and then Summers in the city of Kenosha. And before that, now I want to have you clear something up. I thought I was under the understanding, I think I was wrong, that had this gone into Paris, they would have automatically become incorporated, or no?
I'm not really clear on that, but let me just say one thing. I think that the land agreement that was just blessed by the state is something that became really almost job one in terms of the Antaramian administration, at least kind of from my perspective. That we definitely had to make sure that the city could share in the economic development and have a say in the economic development that happens along the interstate. And I was glad that him and County Executive Jim Cruiser were able to work those details out.
Because otherwise, had this not occurred, the city would have been landlocked. We could not have expanded west of I-94, right?
Sure, we would have been landlocked, and they would have been essentially without water and sewer. So this is a win-win for both the cities of Kenosha and also for Paris and Summers.
So now, Paris will get $5 million in some. Well, anyway, they're sharing a tremendous amount of money when all of this gets played out. Plus, the city can now go all the way out to Highway MB, which is at least a mile, right? Roughly from the interstate west.
Yeah, I would think it's at least a mile, probably a little bit more than that. But it certainly does set the stage for further development, and there's no question in my mind that whole corridor will benefit from Foxconn coming in just a couple miles north. As we know, the area that Foxconn will go in will essentially be from KR to the south, all the way to Highway 11 on the north, and then from H to the east all the way to the interstate. So that's quite a piece of property, a lot of cornfield, a lot of cabbage patch.
Well, I feel good for the farmers that were probably couldn't, for 50 years, couldn't make a lot of money selling soybeans and field corn, and now they've been offered upwards to about $50,000-$60,000 an acre.
There are a lot of new millionaires in Mount Pleasant.
That's right. Well, God love them. I mean, and
absolutely,
and the same thing with those that'll be in Paris and in Summers. I don't know if Summers. This is just talking off the top of my head, but I don't know if Summers is ready to get into commercial development like, say, Pleasant Prairie. But all of that land could be used for housing, and I can see developers coming in all of that place in Pleasant Prairie. Then it's going to add to. I suggested impact fees, because we're going to have to, whether Foxconn is going to stay in Racine, we're still going to have more police, fire, especially in Summers, right? I mean, how can we not have that?
Well, I think that there is going to be a huge amount of development, as you mentioned, not only in housing, but there's also going to be, it was estimated, and it was said to be estimated conservatively, that the Foxconn project will not only employ up to 13,000 people, but that it will result in the spinoff of 20,000 additional people. And I'm not talking about ancillary jobs where you have an extra bartender or an extra waitress or an extra person collecting money at a gas station. I'm talking about actual spin-off jobs in other factories. For example, Corning Glass has already announced that they will be building a factory within a few miles of the Foxconn plant. That will be a $1 billion plant employing somewhere in the neighborhood of 400 or 500 people. So that's just one example. Let me give you an example that was cited in the public hearing. When GE Medical came to Wisconsin, they employed 6,500 people. 20,000 spin-off jobs resulted as a result of that project.
And these are hopefully full-time jobs where people can make car payments and mortgages, roughly, let's say, 35 to 50,000 or higher.
Both the average and the median wage at Foxconn will be in the neighborhood just a little bit above $50,000. So these are family supporting jobs. You're absolutely right, Scott. These are not part-time positions. These are not jobs where you have to have a couple jobs in order to make the payments. These will be living wage jobs.
Well, it's going to cause a huge problem in this area. I mean, right now we're a bedroom community where everybody we got 30,000 people that leave Kenosha to go work elsewhere. What the beauty is, they'll all come and reverse this, hopefully. And this leads me into my first sponsor or commercial is from us. All the businesses are looking to add more employees. You got Uline, you got Amazon, and you got all these other people coming in. And here we are, about a $50,000. That's Wayne's salary. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. Wait a minute. I got a raise? Hold on.
Yeah, here. It's right here. Right
I've got a livable wage? Hold on.
Anyway, 50,000 listeners between Saturdays and Sundays. And we reach as far south as Arlington Heights, Illinois, west of Lake Geneva, and northern suburbs. So if you're looking to fill jobs such as service types, truck drivers, general laborers, warehouse workers, to include any skill job, call me at 262-652-6767. We'll get all the information out to you, and hopefully we can continue our efforts working together to help you get new employees. That's 262-652-6767. What about your thoughts about impact fees? I asked this to Samantha Kirkman. I guess I was unaware that you couldn't do it for schools. However, if you remember Nash Park, when they built Whitecaps, they made whoever the developer was, Zale or whoever that was, put 8 acres aside for a park. Well, as Whitecaps grew, then they deeded that to the city or the school system and built Nash School, and you eliminated all the busing, let them go walk to school. So I thought that was a good. But I want to get your thoughts on if companies that are coming, should we charge them? We can do impact fees in the state of Wisconsin because I looked it up. To what percent? I think you folks would decide.
Well, impact fees are something that we are certainly worth studying, but I think that we have to also look at what the positive impact of this number of jobs will be. It's estimated that there will be approximately, once fully staffed, that it could be approximately $1 billion in new income per year for the Kenosha County. And as we mentioned earlier, the additional housing, and not only additional housing, but housing values are going to go up. So there will be a lot of positive economic impact, as well as just the fact of a lot of new jobs.
You talk to some realtors and new home contractors. There's not enough homes in the inventory right now. I mean, you take a house, we'll just say $225,000. We don't have a lot of those left, like we did 9 years ago when the recession hit. But I can see somebody putting up homes rather quickly. But let's take a call, Todd. Good morning. You're on Kenosha Today.
Hi, guys. It's Cindy. How are you?
Very good. What's up?
I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, if you're on KR, I understand Foxconn is going to be west of H, but you're going to have people coming to work east from H, and there's train tracks there. And I just wondered if they have to modify the train tracks or do something with, gates coming down or whatever. Does Kenosha have to pay into that?
That's a good question.
Half of the railroad?
Todd, do you have an idea?
Well, I remember that there was an article actually a couple weeks ago talking about that KR will probably have to be ramped up to handle the volume of traffic that they're probably going to have. I do not believe at this point that the plans are such that we know exactly where the ingress and egress from Foxconn is going to be, whether or not KR specifically will be affected. Initially, I had heard that the main Foxconn plant was going to actually be between Braun Road and Highway 11. But now I just saw something in Biz Times and Milwaukee Biz Times journals that indicates that may actually be between KR and Braun Road. So I'm not sure that anybody knows at this point exactly where the traffic flows are going to be. But that's certainly something people with a lot higher pay grade than myself are looking at right now.
But at least we're going to take the I-94 system that should have been expanded to those fourth lanes on both sides. That was in the original plan, right? And kind of got pushed to the wayside. It ran out of money, but now that's going to be brought back, right?
Part of the Foxconn the bill itself that was passed includes an additional $250 million for I-95 north-south expansion.
Isn't Braun Road to 11 pretty much residential right now?
Actually, I just took a ride. It's mostly farmland. There's a few houses. There's not very many. I just took a ride around the all four corners of the project just last week. Actually, I took somebody on a show and tell, and there are very few. There's a handful of houses. My guess is less than a dozen. And then on 11 and right on Highway 11, there is some warehousing, which I believe will stay. But by and large, I think that all of those farmhouses will go. And
there's a historic farm there that belonged to my family, and I'm just wondering on Old 31, it's pretty close there. I don't think they want to take away a historic place.
Well, we'll have to leave that for another time. Hey, Cindy, great question, and I got to run because the phone's lit up here. Say thank you. Good morning. You're in Kenosha today.
Good morning, Scott. How are you?
Very good. Who might we be speaking to?
This is Kaz calling.
Kaz, okay. Are you an instant millionaire on Summers?
Unfortunately, no. I'm not gonna reap the benefits of that.
Why?
I'm too far south.
Well, where are you?
I'm on Highway S, the other project.
One crisis at a time, my friend. Well, actually,
very true.
You're on S?
Yes, I am.
Well, you're sitting on a gold mine. Someone's going to buy you out. They're going to level your house, and you didn't see that plan?
I did see that plan. I'm very concerned about that plan. I want to know what they're going to do to see whether or not, I can join your financial club then, see?
We meet every day at the boathouse. You want to join us?
I'll start in December. How's that?
Well, okay, as long as I got you here, what is your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on the Foxconn.
No, I meant the Highway S thing.
There's an awful. I attended the meeting on Thursday, and I talked to some of the engineers that were proposing this, and it has some good and it has some bad, because of how they want to reconstruct that, and how wide and how much property, because they want to put a meridian where the original road is now, and they want to take estimated maximum frontage on my property is 70 feet.
Okay.
And I guess the good thing is having the piece of property that I have and being located 240 feet off the road, it's a concern, but my neighbors that are closer to the road, some of them, it's going to take the front end of their house off.
Well, why don't you? What's behind you? Cornfields?
Behind me are three 3 hay fields, 1 bean field, and
Oh, hey, why
a
don't you
whole
just
bunch of other property.
listen? Why don't you just sell it to a developer and head for Florida, and you'll be drinking cocktails out of tall glasses with umbrellas in a year.
I can do that. And
I got to do all your thinking for you.
Well, it's nice to
Oh,
have
no.
it's nice to have options.
Yeah, right.
I'm already thinking of that. But
All right, real quick, Kaz, your thoughts real quick on the Foxconn, if you have a question for Todd, too.
well, yes, I have some friends that live on KR.
Okay.
And they have received or heard or gotten information that KR and Braun Road will now be 6 lanes from Highway 31 to the interstate.
Whoa.
Now, I don't know if anybody has heard anything about that or knows anything, but this is what they have heard.
Well, Todd, go ahead and address that if they can.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard me just a few minutes ago, Todd, but I think that the plans are being made as we speak in terms of how and where the ingress and egress from the Foxconn plant will be made. I don't know whether or not those decisions have already been made. As I said, they're certainly being made by somebody in a much higher pay grade than myself. But I think that it's certainly safe to say that that KR is a possibility, Braun Road is a possibility, that there would be expansion of those roads. Certainly a possibility.
Hey, Kaz, I got to get going here to the weather. In case you haven't noticed, we rely on Channel 4. So if you're looking out your house and it's raining or snowing, don't even think of nothing. You'd listen to this.
Well, I'll give you a real quick one. I'm driving. Is a visual. It's raining. It stopped snowing.
Well, there's a weather report.
Yeah. We are back.
All right, you're back now. Anyway,
all right,
hey, have
Todd.
a good one.
All right.
I'll talk to you later,
All
buddy.
right, thanks. Hey, some good questions and good points. Now, some of these guys must have firsthand knowledge of the 6 lanes, and but I mean, they're going to these people who own that property. So we got to take 2 minutes?
This time it's about 3.
3 for the weather, and we'll get back, and because Todd's got to get out of here real quick.
Okay.
This is Uncle Scotty Barter, and welcome to the November 18th edition of the Kenosha Today Weekly Report, coming to you live from Studio A here at AM 1050 WLIP, spreading the love here at Camp Happy Face. Also bringing you gas trolleys, stray cats, backyard beavers, and saving the Kenosha Today Nation from all the perils of the world. Because you certainly don't want to end up as toxic waste in the Lincoln Park Lagoon, or even worse than the dumpster of sea scum after my boat, Todd, was permanently winterized this last week down by the boathouse, and we're looking forward to sea scum too, and to put that in the water this next year. Anyway, we invite you to join the thousands of fans who have already signed up and liked us on Facebook, and we are brought to you by our major sponsors, the Boathouse Pub and Eatery and the legendary Brat Stop, along with a host of many other fine local businesses that we'll get to shortly. Joining us this morning, our Director of Cybersecurity, Elmo Schneider.
Good morning.
Spider Wrong Way Ronnie, the camera dude, and Wacky Wayne is here making a very good impression.
Sure.
And
Sure. Sure.
Our special guest this morning, 65th District Assembly Representative Todd Onstead is here. And we all got the memo because the Badgers are playing at 11. That's going to be a cold raw day up at Camp Randall.
There was a memo?
Obviously, you didn't get it.
Yeah.
You're playing in that cult band of yours over there.
Well, I'm always promoting some cult band or another.
Last week or 2 weeks ago, we celebrated our 4th anniversary here on this show. And, Wayne, this was just a rumor that I heard this week. John Perry, the program director,
Yeah.
he's taking a part-time job up at the North Pole. He's a greeter.
Elf.
He's an elf.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure if he's coming back yet or not, but taking one for the team. Also, no one in the first half has won this morning's Secret Word Challenge, sponsored by Mike Bjorn's Clothing. And if any of our callers mention the secret word, you get a $25 gift certificate from Mike Bjorn's Clothing, located in downtown Kenosha, offering the largest selection of men's suits, starting at $179 with sizes ranging from 34 short all the way up to size 48 long. And for only $199, you can get sizes 50 and 60. And in both cases, it includes shirt, tie, belt, and a pair of socks. And by the way, this show is being recorded for training purposes so that we can replay this nonsense tomorrow at noon, and also gives Wacky Wayne here an opportunity to maybe blip out any words that might be inappropriate. Certainly not from anybody in this room.
No, we don't say inappropriate things here at all.
Just to prepare us from any upcoming litigation.
Well, yeah, there's that.
And all right, let's get back to we're going to play the game, but Tom's got to leave, so we got a couple questions. Elmo, you got a question for Todd?
Yeah, we had talked about there's been some issues raised lately about situations in the Department of Corrections with the state, especially in their with the juvenile detention facilities, mainly the one up at Lincoln Hills, and just wondering if they are sufficient to handle, which I guess most of that element is coming out of Milwaukee, and we've noticed some of the crime problems are starting to spread out into the suburbs and even to Racine and Kenosha with that. So just we had talked a little bit before the show about this, and wondering if it would be in the state's best interest to maybe build a higher security juvenile facility somewhere in southeastern Wisconsin to handle these people.
Chrysler plant. There you go.
Well, there is no question that the prison system needs a close look at in Wisconsin. For whatever reason, we imprison twice the number of people as Minnesota. Minnesota has almost the same population, has very similar demographic, and they have been using a lot of these alternative courts that Wisconsin is starting to use now in terms of drug courts, veteran courts, quite successfully, as they've been successful here. But I would certainly be in favor of taking a look at a juvenile facility in southeastern Wisconsin, because it has clearly been shown that juveniles are more likely to not become career criminals if their family and their friends have easier access to come and visit with them when they're incarcerated. So I think that needs a close look. Just this last week, there was some commissions formed. There was some controversy on that because Speaker Voss appointed all Republicans from his side of the commission, all white men, and there has been a call from some of our African American colleagues from Milwaukee to be part of that commission. And I think that is kind of telling that I think that Governor Walker needs to get more involved in this issue. Governor Walker, ironically, has visited Guantanamo, but he has never visited a prison in the United States, in Wisconsin. And I think that this is something that's obviously gotten out of control, and I think that Governor Walker needs to get involved in it.
Todd, my colleague, very young colleague, across the way here, that blurted out, put it in the Chrysler. He didn't really mean that. See, he's spent $18,000 going to broadcasting school and lives in Antioch. So I think he just probably misspoke, because we don't want a prison in the old Chrysler site, do we?
No. Let's just revert back to Foxconn for a second. I think that there is no question that Foxconn coming to Mount Pleasant will make it much easier for Mayor Antaramian and the City Council to find a good use for the 108 acres, which is right in the middle of my district. But I don't think that it's going to be a juvenile facility.
Probably not.
Yeah. Anyway, something's got to be done. And I find that I read that about where the governor has gone to Guantanamo, but he's never gone to his own prison here, and I'm not sure what that's about. But only he can know. And when he gets down here, we'll ask him about.
Yeah, do that. Make sure that put that on the list.
Yeah. Hey, I got to ask you before I let you go, and I know you got to get out of here. How did you you were in work for AMC and Chrysler for 30-some years.
30.
And then how did you get involved in politics, being an alderman, first of all?
Well, I retired early, and I knew that I was going to do something else in my second life, and I didn't know exactly what it was going to be. And I was on my way to pay my taxes at City Hall, and I was looking up at a board that they had by the line where I was waiting to pay my taxes. And a retiree friend of mine from work, he tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Is your name on that board?" And the board showed that there was an opening in my district, my aldermanic district. And I said, "No, my name's not on that board," but I did notice that there was nobody running. And so 3 or 4 days later, when I walked by City Hall, I stopped in and there was still nobody running. And a week later, there was still nobody running. And so I decided, well, that'd be an interesting kind of part-time job. And so put my name on the board. And next thing I knew, there was a couple other names on the board, and ended up with a primary election. Ended up winning that particular seat. Then I won re-election 2 years later, and 2 years later, after I won re-election in that, there was an opening for the 65th Assembly District so I threw my name in the hat there. So it's been quite a ride.
So that's how you win in politics. You just go in there and you just have somebody tap you on the shoulder. I've been doing this all wrong for a couple of times.
You should. You just had the wrong retiree standing behind you.
But so being in politics was not something that you had aspired to way back 20 years ago, right? It just kind of fell into your lap, so to speak, maybe?
No, I never. When I didn't envision myself entering politics when I started working in American Motors. 3 or 4 years after working on the assembly line, somebody suggested that I run for steward, which I did, and was steward for several years, and then ended up getting elected to the executive board and bargaining unit of Local 72 and winning re-election for the next 20-some years in that position. And when I was able with 30 years, I called it quits there, and knew that there would be a new chapter in my life, but I didn't know what it was going to be. But I've really been honored to represent workers at American Motors and Chrysler, and I've been honored to represent the people in my aldermanic district, and certainly now in the 65th Assembly District.
Now you're up for election again next fall?
Yep, next November.
Every 2 years.
Every
right?
2 years. It's a 2-year term.
One last question, then I know you got to go. What is the most pressing problem that we have to overcome in the 65th, 64th, in this area, southeastern Wisconsin? We already have Foxconn. Looks like that's not a problem anymore. But
I think that the current biggest problem is income inequality. There are certainly a lot of jobs, but they are not living wage jobs, and they are not paying enough money for somebody to really support their family. And I certainly believe, and I certainly hope that Foxconn becomes the answer to that problem. But I think right now there's not a problem for people finding jobs, but the jobs that they have, frequently you have to hobble 2 or 3 together to make sure to pay the bills.
One last thing, you think that I didn't realize this when we were talking about, at that time the state was thinking about raising the minimum wages. We don't have to, because they will competitively raise their own minimum wage.
Well, I think it would still be a good idea to raise the minimum wage. Not everybody is going to have the economic engine that we're going to have in terms of Foxconn.
Okay.
So I still support raising the minimum wage, but you're right. I think that the person who is now working in a nursing home for $9 or $10 an hour will see their incomes raise as a result of Foxconn. People who are working in Amazon for 12 or 13 will see their income raise as well. So I think that this is something that will raise all boats.
Very good. Todd, thank you for coming in.
Okay,
I appreciate it.
Okay, thanks for the opportunity.
Go Badgers, and
go Badgers, go Packers.
Got out of here with no arrest and or conviction. So
so far, but I'm not in my car. I'm not in my car yet.
So left the building yet.
Barker's got your engine running. So good.
We still have the 11 o'clock hour.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. That's why I'm getting out of here. Thanks for having me today.
All right, Todd. Thanks. I got to read a couple sponsors that we kind of were.
See you later.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll probably be on the ground before you hit the ground. That's morbid. And now, boys and girls, it's time to play Kenosha's fastest growing game show sensation, the lightning round of City and Jeopardy, sponsored by the Boathouse Pub and Eatery. I'm glad you didn't do that when Todd was here. He'd be very nervous. He'd probably think about going over and being a Republican if he sees you doing that. To be eligible, no one from your household could have won any contest on WLIP within the last 60 days. We will now clear the phone lines.
Clear the lines.
Clear the lines, and I'm going to read the question, which is a very sophisticated, intelligent, multiple-choice question, and you will then get 3 somewhat intellectual answers to choose from. After that, you will hear the ding, and the first caller to correctly answer the question wins a Kenosha Today $25 gift certificate to the Boathouse Pub and Eatery, located at 4917 7th Avenue here in Kenosha. Open Monday through Fridays at 11 a.m., featuring weekly lunch and dinner specials. And coming up this Thursday, the big Thanksgiving buffet. That's actually short for buffet.
It's a buffet.
That's announcing. Yeah. It goes with your pedestal.
Yeah,
the buffet on your pedestal.
Yes.
from 11 a.m. to last year, the city of Kenosha issued the most licenses and permits for A, winterizing scum-worthy boats on the 50th Street Bridge, B, super gluing leg monitors for first-time stalkers, or C, the removal of the 6th Avenue reconstruction plans from the Lincoln Park Lagoon. First caller, 262-694-1050. In the last, we have a caller already. These people are smart.
Johnny on the spot.
Jeez. We'll see if that's the case. Good morning. You're on Kenosha Today.
Hi guys, it's Cindy. Did you get a winner yet?
No.
We just started.
Have you played in the last 60 days?
No.
You haven't won anything, right?
No, I haven't played anything in the last
All right.
60 days.
All right, Cindy, here's the question. In the last year, the city of Kenosha issued the most license and permits for A, winterizing scum-worthy boats on the 50th Street Bridge, B, super gluing leg monitors for first-time stalkers, or C, the removal of the 6th Avenue reconstruction plans from the Lincoln Park Lagoon. Cindy.
I think I'm going to have to go with B.
Super gluing leg monitors for first-time stalkers. Yes, that's a correct answer.
All right. Good.
Well, at least you put some thought into this.
Oh, yeah, a lot.
Anyway, what are you doing for Thanksgiving?
I'm going to have my nephew over here, and I'm going to have a great big dinner here and send him home with some leftovers.
See, that's the key. See, that's the advantage of going to the boathouse. I'm sure you're going to be a wonderful cook and have everything done. But at the boathouse, you spend $20 a person, no preparation, no cleanup, and you don't have to sit there and watch Uncle Elmer, not Elmo, but somebody, pass out and be obnoxious and start passing gas through the football game. All right, Cindy, I have your address from prior, so I'll get this out to you Monday.
You look up my old address?
I'll look up your old address. There you go. Please, very good, Cindy.
Yeah.
All right, I got to take another call.
Okay, thanks.
All right, sure. Good morning, you're on.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Good. Eric, right?
It's Eric. I was trying to call him, but she got there faster than I did. But me and Captain were riding down to the old cabin on South Sheridan right now, and we were thinking super glue. They need to put Gorilla Glue, something a little stronger than super glue. Whoops, I almost swore. But anyway.
But wait a minute. Yeah, don't end up in the ditch and tell them you're talking to me.
Anyway.
But don't forget that was super glue, Eric, because they were first-time stalkers. Now, if this was a repeat offender, yes, then you'd have to use the heavy-duty stuff.
Well, what's the difference if it's the first time or the 20th time?
Well, my age, quite a bit. If Captain's with you, ask him. He's got the answers.
Well, he's driving. I don't want to confuse him.
He's driving? Oh, yeah, God almighty.
Oh, yeah.
Well, all right. Anyway,
well, I was gonna ask you guys a question, but I already forgot what it was. I'm doing real good this morning.
Well, we encouraged everybody to come down to the new Cabin Fever, which is the home to the Benny the Beaver's Backyard Roadkill Museum.
Speakerphone.
Speakerphone.
Boy.
He can't do two things at the same time. I'm sorry. Tell him just to keep his eye on the road and make sure.
On the wheel.
Yeah, he's probably going to do? Eric, he's probably going to say, geez, I see the sign, welcome to Chicago. Did I miss the cabin?
Thank God he just took a left. He made it. He Indianapolis, 10 miles. It says, what does that mean, Indianapolis? Where's that?
Well, tell him not to take any chip off the building there, because that's not going to look good on your resume.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Well, I guess that's all. I was trying to get the call in to answer the question, but, well, I dropped the ball on that. Well, no, she was just a little quicker to the, she called before you guys even said the phone number. She was on the ball this morning. So,
see, this is our audience. Eric, you're going to find out this is our audience. These people are sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard, Cabin Fever.
And we got to get some toys rolling. I hope people come in and start bringing them toys in. Kids need something to play with. I was listening to you guys talk about the juvenile correctional. So what was that? You guys were talking earlier about using the Chrysler land there for.
No. That was our inexperienced youngster here from Antioch that blurted that out. He didn't mean that.
I didn't mean it.
Yeah, why do we need to build more correctional institutions? We just need longer chains and have them start digging stuff and get ready for
ditches.
Foxcom. Well, all right, you guys should cut me off before it goes.
All right.
right.
Eric, we'll talk to you later.
Cut him off before he says something goofy, or Captain Mike
Right,
hits
who
the
knows?
building.
Well, we're right up against CBS News in the next 2 minutes.
Okay, but then
gives
good.
you time to do your thing.
Kenosha Today Nation, welcome to the November 18th edition of the Kenosha Today Weekly Report, broadcasting live from Studio A here at AM 1050 WLIP on your radio dial. Being brought to you by our major sponsors, the Boathouse Pub and Eatery and the legendary Broad Stop, along with a host of many other very fine local businesses. As Todd Onstead found out, we're taking serious journalism
Extremely serious.
to an all-time high, reporting on local stories, state stories, and spanning the globe, keeping it real, spreading the love, and being the mature adults that we are here on Kenosha Today every Saturday morning. Right, Wacky Wayne?
Oh, yeah. Very mature.
Speaking of maturity, joining us this morning, our Director of Cybersecurity, a former CEO at Equifax, and the head engineer of Do Over Kenosha, Elmo Schneider's here. Elmo, welcome.
Good morning.
Bringing his sophomoric humor and buzzkill antics to the Kenosha Today Nation. And, of course, he's, as he is every Saturday morning.
Speaking of maturity,
There we go. Okay.
Oh, what does that say? I can't
I
read it.
just drew a picture on
He's making smiley faces over there.
a paper
His mad artistic skills.
Like Todd says, he's way above his pay grade.
Oh, yes.
And engineering the Kenosha Trolley Ride this morning, Wacky Wayne joins our encounter group. And I can give you a reason why the Lord is going to weep today, because you're not going to be with us next week.
I am not going to be with you next week.
Yeah. You're going up. When are you leaving on?
I'm leaving Wednesday.
And you're going to go up with the in-laws? And
Go
have
up with the
Thanksgiving?
in-laws, have Thanksgiving up there, come back on Sunday sometime.
And you're going to miss Elmo's in charge of the. Go ahead, Elmo. What are we
Oh,
doing
yeah,
next
isn't it
next
the
Saturday?
birthday?
Scotty's got the day off for his birthday.
Yeah,
so
the
I'm going to be
birthday.
here, but
Right.
I'm not in charge of it.
Elmo's running the show, huh?
I'm just,
yeah, he's going to look like Weekend at Bernie's here. That's
Okay.
He's going to prop him up in the corner, and that'll be it.
Good to have goals.
now the Lord will be really
Yeah,
crying.
right.
Yeah. So when you go up there, is it just you and the missus? And
We take the boy, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
I forgot him.
don't want to leave the kid home alone. He's
It's not a good idea.
Did you let
No.
him drive?
yeah, no, not yet.
We got
Not
a
at
call here?
13. Yeah, Shirley's going to give us a call.
Oh, Shirley. Good morning. You're on Kenosha Today.
Hello, just a quick hello.
Just a quick hello.
Quick hello.
What, are you hanging up already?
No. And I'm called to say happy birthday to Scott and happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
So what time should we be over for Thanksgiving?
About 2.
When you're serving at noon?
yeah. Yeah, we're having a turkey that my family shot last year. It's a wild
Last year?
turkey.
Last year.
Yeah,
It's
well,
gotta be a little-
yeah,
excuse
well,
the pun.
Whatever turkey season was,
gotta
was,
be-
and it was a huge one. So we cooked it when they got it, and it's so big. We ate half, and we froze half. So we're just going to thaw out the other half. Now I got to use it.
Oh, this is
And,
going to cause all
have
these.
that and all the trimmings and everything.
Yeah, but
pumpkin pie.
you better go back and read the manual, because if a turkey like this is going to create all these anti-botulism things, and you're going to get some kind of. There you go. Yeah, see.
No, it's in the freezer. It's good. It's good.
Here's the thing. They have that was. Maybe you should probably have this. This was what they call. Actually, I guess you can get them at Macy's Parade, or the J.C. Penney Christmas catalog. It's called Turkey Day Eating Pants. Oh, I'm reading this. I'm not making this up. It's sponsored by the people at Stovetop Stuffing, and they're selling stuffing-themed comfy pants designed for eating and napping. And these pants come with a little bit of a stovetop style. And I guess it's for those people who... and it's got plenty of room to expand the waistline. I shouldn't even be promoting this price, but $19.98. And it's a perfect way for the world to say that you've completely given up on looking good and setting in for some serious hibernation time. You going to have any of these over there?
Oh boy, that sounds like something else.
Well, it is something else.
It is something. And now for something completely different.
Just when you thought the world had everything,
Yeah, oh boy.
Turkey Day eating pants.
Right.
Of course.
Oh, those are just like sweatpants.
No, it says they're like more like spandex with the expanding legs.
Yeah.
And in your case, because you're only serving a half a turkey, you can get them in shorts.
So, Shirley, you adding any special herbs and spices to your stuffing this year?
Yeah, that leafy substance.
Out in the garage. Leafy stuff, I put a little of my leafy stuff in there.
Well, that kind of makes...
It makes it really good.
Kind of makes the afternoon go past a little bit, too, doesn't it?
Just eat the stuffing.
Do you cook stuffing in the bird?
Well, usually I do, but see, this is just a half, so I can't. So I'm making it separate, and they like it in just a casserole because the bird's gone, so I can't stuff it. But I'm making stuffing which I like in a casserole.
This just doesn't seem like a holiday Thanksgiving tradition where you're eating a half a bird that somebody blasted a year ago. I just
not a year ago, whatever.
You just said a year ago.
No, I don't mean a year ago. No, It's not been in there a year. Whatever they went turkey hunting, I forgot. And I got a regular turkey that I'm going to cook later on in a couple weeks or something. I really like a regular turkey. I'm not too fond of a wild turkey, but my family loves it, so I'll eat. There's a little white meat. I'll have a little bit of the white meat, and they love it, the drumsticks and everything. So they shot it, so that's what they're going to get.
What's the best part of having a turkey?
The best part of having a turkey?
Yeah.
I like the white meat on the turkey.
Okay, I was trying to lead you into the secret word, but you must have been in the rum chata too early this morning, Shirley, so it went right over your head.
Yeah, I had a couple rum chatas last night. I was feeling no pain, I'm telling you. That really helped.
Welcome to our world. All right, Shirley, well, you have a nice holiday, Thanksgiving.
You too. And now your birthday is what day? I forgot.
It's on Thanksgiving, but...
oh, really? Well, you have a wonderful birthday, and all of you a wonderful Thanksgiving.
We'll be doing a special tribute show next week
Saturday
for Scott's birthday. So.
I don't know nothing about this.
Okay. So, and I'll call again and wish you a happy birthday.
Sounds good.
Bye-bye.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
God bless everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.
Where was I at here? For those who haven't signed up to like us on the Kenosha Today Facebook page, you better get on with it. Also, the status of the Secret Word Challenge to win a $25 gift certificate from Mike Bjorn's Clothing has not been won yet, offering the largest selection of men's suits anywhere on the planet. Starting at only $179, with sizes ranging from 34 short to 48 long, and for only $199 for sizes 50 to 60. And in both cases, it includes a shirt, tie, belt, and a pair of socks. And Ron, you better get down there, get yourself a new suit, and get yourself some suspenders.
Okay. I will.
And if the rest of you, the guys want to impress your sweetheart, get over to Mike Bjorn's Clothing. Or call them at 262-652-0648. And now, boys and girls, written in our home office at Amen Corner on the deck at the Boathouse Pub and Eatery, where gray hairs matter. This week's top 10 thought-provoking category. These are the Kenosha Today Top 10 Winter Driving Tips. Number 10. Avoid the heat. All right, kill the music.
Kill the band. All right.
Start over.
Good morning, everybody.
Deep breath. All right.
The Kenosha Today Top 10 Winter Driving Tips. Number 10, avoid the huge 2-inch snowdrifts out in the 17th District at all costs. Number 9, reduce your speed to 0.08 miles per hour in the Long Island Iced Tea Zone. Number 8, anticipate stalkers walking on both sides of the road. Number 7, be sure to engage the four-wheel drive when driving in the Washington Park Velodrome. Number 6, have at least a kilo of salt melt to munch on if you're stranded on Anthony Kennedy Drive. Number 5, lower the driving age to 6. Number 4, use plenty of sunblock and body talc when you're riding on the trolley during a lake effect storm. Number 3, winterize your engine by adding 1 pound of lubricated ball bearings. Number 2, ignore the sign in Mr. Barter's neighborhood that says slippery when wet. The number 1 Kenosha Today winter driving tip: in case of emergency, call 1-900-COME-GET-ME-IN-THE-SPRING.com. That needed work.
A little bit. Production meeting was that good last night, huh?
No, actually, I had too much time on my hands this week, and I don't know what seemed funny at 6 o'clock on a Wednesday night.
Okay. When you should have been in bed, huh?
Well, who says I wasn't?
It's probably part of the problem.
See how stained this was?
Yeah.
Good morning. You're in Kenosha today.
Thanks, Scott. How's it going?
Dennis, my man.
How are you?
Very good. Thank you for asking. Do you want to know how the rest of the boys are?
Sure. How's Elmo and Ron and the gang doing?
You don't care.
Yeah, you don't care. You just called to talk to Scotty. Make sure he's not drinking all your vodka.
Your show is a staple on Saturday mornings.
A staple, yeah, well. All right, they're all fine.
Well, then I know you're not telling the truth because one of them's got to be less than 100%.
Oh, I'm looking at they're all 100%.
Yeah.
I got 300 plus me. That's 300. Let's see, carry 25. The one. That's 325. Yeah, 325.
Hey, I got a question for you.
All
With
right.
the weather sometimes close to 50, do you still golf in this stuff?
No, actually, when the temperature gets below my age, I find it tough. I actually took my clubs out of my car 2 weeks ago in hopes that I'd find a day that would get close to 48, 50 with the sun out and not be dry, but that never materialized. So I polished them up and took them in the basement for the till spring.
Oh, okay. Well, the grass on the course will be, happy to hear that.
Are you suggesting that I'm a hack?
No.
A butcher, maybe.
And even if you were, at least you're only a golf hack. I think we've got too many political hacks around.
Hey, you know what? As long as you brought that up, what do you think of all these guys being accused of sexual misconduct? I mean, every day you pick up the paper, and it's Al Franken. You got, even this week I saw, I'm going to address this in the editorial, even Bush 41 got accused of groping some gal some years ago at a photo op.
Well, I'm against abuse of anyone, women as well, and...
Well, wait a minute, women as well. You better clean that up a little, bub.
No. I mean, I throw that in there because any human being should not be abused, well, no matter their gender or color, race, religion, whatever.
Oh, okay.
But the thing about it is we're a nation of sheep, and we follow. So the trend now is everybody jumps on, this is the hot topic, so now it's going to be anybody. And one thing I have to agree with, though, is maybe some of them that were a little hesitant to make allegations or accusations, maybe they are emboldened to come out by, to saying, hey, this is my opportunity. I don't know.
Yeah, but the list keeps growing longer and longer. And Elmo had, and I had a discussion at a conference this week about whether we thought Roy Moore was going to win. And go ahead.
Well, I've been hearing the people in Alabama don't care about it, so they're going to vote for him anyway.
Right. And the problem I heard the other day is if he does get elected, his colleagues are going to kick him out.
Yeah, well, that one of his colleagues would be Al Franken, so,
Right.
No. Well, at any rate, what are you doing for Thanksgiving?
Going over to the sister-in-laws in Kenosha.
In Kenosha, oh, wow. Well, be safe. Oh, we don't need
Yeah, it'll be a nice day. Is tomorrow your little get together during the game, or is it next week?
It's next week.
Next week.
Yeah.
At the official boathouse.
Yeah.
No.
I'll have to call you with the details.
Dennis, when you watch the video replay of this on, cable television, you're going to have to pay close attention to Scott's face during these portions of the conversation when you call, because there's a lot of tension that automatically comes into his face. It makes him grimace and his lips peel apart. He's like,
not as much, not necessarily me, but
yeah. And then there's hands over faces. It's always a pleasure when you call, Dennis. I just want you to know that, just from a viewer's point of view, because Scott turns a lovely shade of color. His face contorts.
A little green.
Yeah.
Contorts.
Well, I have to learn the code, I guess. I
didn't realize there was a code, and he just makes facial expressions, which you can't see. So if that's part of the code, he really needs to come up with a verbal cue. You know this is a medium of the mind, not something you see, right, Scott?
I will.
Okay.
So you got to go now, right?
Hey, after Thanksgiving, are you guys still having a Friday meeting at the boathouse? The Friday production meeting?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Black Friday production meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I'll try to make that.
I will call you with the particulars when I get off the air.
Oh, okay.
If I'm, in my
And
car.
I want to tell you something. You you and the staff there are great Americans. That was a really great program last week, and
Oh, these guys did a great job, and especially the veterans in that. Is this call for us?
Yeah.
All right, Dennis. I will call you after the show and give you
right,
a
thanks
verbal tongue lashing.
I got you. Take it easy.
All right.
See you, Dennis.
I can only imagine who this is going to be. Good morning on Kenosha today.
Good morning, gentlemen. Tim in Lake Bluff.
Yes, Tim in Lake Bluff.
I have a burning question, and I was hoping that I could get an answer out of one of you.
Okay. Go ahead.
Are you allowed to bring food on the trolley?
Yeah, I've heard guys are going down there with a broadband lunch.
I'm sorry, the streetcar. See, yeah. No, I was going to bring the leftovers for my Thanksgiving dinner Friday, and I was particularly going to bring the wishbone to make.
Hey, Tim from Lake Bluff wins the secret word of the day. And it wasn't trolley; it was wishbone.
Yeah, streetcar. See, I wanted to bring the wishbone in particular to ride with. Well, I don't know, maybe the driver on the streetcar because nobody else rides the stupid thing. But maybe me and him could pull the wishbone together and make a wish that we could get this new homeless shelter downtown Kenosha, because I'll tell you what, one homeless shelter just isn't enough. I think we could probably try to see if we can get a couple of our elected politicians together and see if we could drum up some more fundraisers to get some more homeless shelters, because we could become the homeless shelter capital of the United States. Wouldn't that be great?
Oh, wait a minute. You know that old saying, if you build it, they will come?
That's the problem.
Oh, sure.
And they will.
That would actually put us on the map. Forget about the stupid casino that we didn't get and the stupid Foxconn thing that's just going to bury us all. Let's see if we can put up more homeless shelters. Then it'll put us on the map. You know what? If we actually had a homeless shelter downtown, then perhaps somebody would use that stupid trolley. They could get on and say, well, I made it this far. At least I can get on this thing for $1, or maybe they'll just give me a free ride down to the homeless shelter.
Hey, Tim, I don't want you to hold back. I want you to tell me exactly how you feel.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I got another call.
By the way, this rain is changing over to snow. Hopefully they got the plows on in the 17th district.
Yeah, wasn't that a disaster? We have another call? Either one of those?
I'm waiting to see if one of them comes back around. Sorry to interrupt him.
We're going to give you a $25 gift certificate, and I'm going to send it out to you. But off the air, Wacky Wayne's going to get your address, and I'll send this down. And I nominate you. Everybody here this morning nominates you as Johnny Wishbone. Timmy Wishbone, and God bless you, everyone, and put this homeless shelter and put Kenosha on the map.
Yeah, let's. I'm all in favor, though. I really think that we can get a bigger coalition together. I think we could try to add this other homeless shelter. What a joke.
Okay, but you still won the 25 big ones.
Oh.
So don't go away. Off the air, Wayne's going to get your information. I'll send you out the certificate on Monday.
All right, great.
Yeah, thanks for your input. Very good. Timmy,
neither one of these other ones are worth keeping.
No? Oh, okay. Well, we finally had a winner. We haven't had a winner in the
right.
And
not trying to guess the word either.
Yeah.
They just said it right
without
in
a
the
hint,
right
out of the blue. And it took a discussion of the trolley to bring out the best.
That's right.
In a guy from Lake Bluff. I applaud him. While he's doing that, I better read a sponsor here.
I'll get back.
All right. Oh, this is yours. I need this.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't need the pen. All right. Sure, let's give it a whirl.
Okay. Good morning on Kenosha today.
Yes, good morning, gentlemen.
Who's this?
This would be your trucker from Kenosha.
Trucker. Is that Mr.
Yeah.
Mr. Trucker? Okay.
Yeah, that's right. You know, I listened to Tim. You know, he seems very negative about the streetcars and the trolley. And I'll tell you right now, it can be a booming thing if people would start sticking up for it, because you have a driver on one of them. his name is Steve, and you know, I listen to Lou, and it sounds like Lou knows pretty much about Kenosha. But this gentleman, Steve, he talks about the things that were here and were gone, and this was over there, and that was over here. You know, folks, I'll tell you right now, you can make a success out of this, as well as the dog track was, but people started finding fault with it and everything else. And yeah, Walker lost a good deal when he just turned his back on the tribal situation. He could have gotten a lot more. So really and truly, you know, the things that are here in town, sir.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
I would like to see people kind of back it up. You know, if you got a team and it's not playing very well, yeah, it's always nice to see them walk away from the whole stadium. But I'll tell you right now, the people that stay will bring it to life. It is to life, because right now you have a mayor that would like to see it continue all the way to Christmas for the shoppers around here. You know, maybe if we advertise a little bit more the downtown people of what they got, maybe people will come out of Wilmette, Winnetka, Kenilworth. All those towns are money makers. So you got your bus company here, and you got all this trolley. I'll tell you right now, it can be a booming town. Lake Geneva at one time was a dead town. So, hey, Tim, I'm sure you're listening to me. Come on, join us, not fight us. All right.
All right, thanks.
That's all I got to say.
All right. Well, he had some good ideas.
Yep.
I mean, I didn't know, he said Lake Geneva was a dead town. I can't ever remember when it was a dead town, but maybe there was. And I didn't know they put a trolley system in Lake Geneva. Maybe I missed that part.
I think it's the tracks are on the bottom of the lake. So that's...
I told you those trolleys would never float. I tried to tell him. Well, you know, I agree. If it, you know, it was intended to, when 20 years ago when they put and it's still a trolley to me. It'll always be a trolley to me. To be a transportation mode for those people that were going to live in Harbor Park, get on the trolley, take them to the train station, and take them down to Chicago, you know, where they were working. You could take the metro, right, all the way down to the Loop.
Unfortunately, the trolley doesn't run when they need to get on the train.
That's the problem. So, and out of those 420 townhouses, condos, etc., 2/3 of them were bought by people that aren't living here. They were bought for like weekend deals, just like the Boulders are. So it never materialized like they had thought to. And then to extend it to the brass site, I thought would have been a disaster, because if that was going to be the case, Pick and Save would still be here, right? But there's nothing to go.
Well,
out
still,
there.
it's never going to go west of the tracks. You can't
they're
deal with the railroad tracks.
Well, the railroad wasn't going to let them go underneath there.
Right,
so
you can't do that. So.
And anyway, we got about a minute left here. 262-694-1050. If you have a question or comment, even when we get back, we're talking about all these sexual accusations, and I mean, why now? All of a sudden, it just seems like every day we get a new one.
Well, I think it's the exact. You know, if you talk to people that have been, you know, I think in governments all over, this stuff has been going on for decades.
Yeah,
and
but all of a sudden
just now they're starting to come out.
Seems like anytime somebody's running.
That's like Dennis said, you know, where it's, you know, the first person comes out and, you know, everybody's jumping on the bandwagon now. But this stuff has been going on for years. So,
well, going back to Kennedy's and well before him, but I thought.
Well, even look at Madison, you know, what happens at Inn on the Park stays at Inn on the Park.
Yeah. Well,
should ask Todd about that.
Well, Todd has left the building. This message is directed towards all the business owners who are listening in the Kenosha Today Nation, is homeless, and how I'm sure there was apparently a few more people than this picture had. Shelter equals dignity. And I agree with some of the statements that some of these people are homeless because they want to. And yes, there are some that are homeless because they don't have any choice. However, if you want a job, I've told the story of last summer. I'm going out to the golf course on Highway 142, right, and I stopped going west by CVS Pharmacy there, and here's a guy with a big sign that says, "I need money. Can you give me $20 or whatever?"
Sure.
And I says, you know what? Amazon, coincidentally, was hiring that day. I says, I'll give you a ride. I'm going right past it. He turned around and walked, sat down.
Right.
He didn't want to work for it.
No.
You know, they would have hired him right there. No. whether you would have
Those
passed.
guys make more money they're doing that than they can at Amazon. That's the problem.
Yeah, and you probably would have had a little trouble with the drug test. Maybe,
Plus, it's tax-free.
That's right.
And when we get back, we'll talk about your opinion of where we are with Trump's tax plan. I get a call from a very fine reporter this week on as an accountant, I think, and I have no idea. Emma and I've talked about every day because the game changes daily, and I don't know what's going to happen here. Some of this stuff. We'll get your opinion when we get back. We'll be back in
about 2.5.
2.5 on the home stretch. If you just joined us, this is the November 18th edition of the Kenosha Today Weekly Report, coming to you live and streaming worldwide here on AM 1050 WLIP, being brought to you by our major sponsors, the Boathouse Pub and Eatery and the legendary Brat Stop, along with a host of many other very fine local businesses. This morning's cast of characters: Elmo Schneider from the galaxy called Spider Dome, where everybody drives their van sideways with their pants on the ground.
Do it every day.
Our video coordinator, Wrong Way Ronnie. So whose driveway you parking sideways in this week?
The neighbors.
Yeah, neighbor. Along with our engineer, Wacky Wayne, who has, again, fully recovered from the October roadkill season. There's going to be a holiday roadkill season. I don't know if you're from Illinois, if you're aware of that.
I was not privy to that information. I can't wait.
Well, then quit spouting off about putting a prison in the crisis. We are here each and every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. until noon. Also, if you happen to miss our Saturday show, you can tune in to AM 1050 WIP tomorrow, Sunday at noon. Forget the Packers. They'll probably be down by 30 points by end of the first quarter. And listen to the replay of this morning's broadcast. And don't forget to join the Kenosha City Nation. Like us on Facebook. The status of the secret word was won by Tim from Lake Bluff. And the secret word was
Wishbone.
Wishbone. Timmy Wishbone. And so he gets to win a $25 gift certificate to Mike Bjorn's Clothing. And now, boys and girls, it's time for this week's edition of As the Brat Turns. High five singers and doofuses. Boy, did you see the look on Todd's face? He thought he was taking a roll call, a voice vote up in an assembly.
What the heck is this?
Yeah, what is this? And then he knew right away this was serious stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Coming to us from the beer garden in the world-famous and legendary Brat Stop, located on the northwest corner of Highways 50 and 994 here in Kenosha, open at 8 a.m. 7 days a week, 365 days a year, serving breakfast, lunch, dinner, and everything in between. For more information on what's going on at the Brat, call them at 262-857-2011 as the Brat turns like the sands in the hourglass in the days of our lives. This week's high five goes to Grace Kolakowski for spearheading an endowment fund to help inspire a Kenosha Performing Arts Center. The Grace Kolakowski Endowment Fund is intended to provide the seed that would allow the community to research and develop a plan for various future art projects. With the redevelopment of the downtown, this fund could help make Kenosha a true destination city that will attract thousands of visitors to our community. To Grace, we applaud your efforts and hope that many more will follow your lead. This week's zinger goes to all those drivers last Friday and into the evening hours who didn't slow down for the first snow dusting of the season. Now, granted, it was only less than 1 inch of snow, and the plows had not yet reached the 17th district. However, the results were just the same, with countless accidents wreaking havoc all across the Tri-County area. We say poppycock, and people just have to realize that you can't drive in weather-related issues as you would when it's sunny and roads are dry. And so, from the Kenosha Today Traffic Department, we got a traffic department? How do we do that? How do we do a traffic department? That's the hell. That's
this is Air Chopper 1 over here with the LAP studios.
Yeah. And so, would you have to do that as part of your thesis to graduate?
Oh, yeah.
Traffic 101?
I got extra credit for that.
And from the Kenosha State Traffic Department, please slow down, because the life you save just may be your own, and you will still get to your destination alive.
Captain Mike thought about it.
Yeah. Captain, this week's doofus goes to all the politicians, musicians, and Hollywood celebrities who, for all their bad behavior over the years, as I said before, even Bush 41 is being accused of groping some young gal years ago during a photo op. I'm sick and tired of picking up the paper and reading about the Cosbys, Wieners, Weinstein, Spaces, and Roy Moore, all of which claim their innocence. My God, even a Kenosha alderman is going on trial this spring for a felony stalking charge. Go figure that. Who saw that coming? I applaud the gals that marched in Hollywood this week against sexual harassment. I love their slogan, Not in pots, not in plants. Keep your junk inside your pants. Shows creativity.
Oh, very much so.
And here, all this time, I thought William Bubba Clinton was the poster boy for being a sexual pervert. Turns out he was just a choir boy.
He was never ever mentioned.
And unfortunately, Monica Lewinsky found out exactly where Middle C was.
I
on
bet
Bubba.
she did.
And everything has been pretty much downhill from there. And there you have it, folks. As the brat turns for this Saturday, November 18th, 2017. I'm Scotty Barter, and I approve this message. All right. Oh, here we have. I was wondering what happened. And then I got 2 of these.
I hope so.
All right.
There's a horrible smelting accident.
Hey, I came across this. This is a cute little story. I can get through this. A friend of ours is a pilot named Daryl, not his real name. Is about ready to land at the Kenosha airport, and he's still at 6,000 feet, and apparently there's a problem with the plane, and it doesn't look real good. Some kind of mechanical problem. Apparently all the ball bearings got froze up at 6,000 feet. So he's got 3 passengers, a minister, a city alderman, and a 13-year-old kid. So the pilot says, guys, I'm afraid I've got some bad news. It looks like we're about to crash, and the real bad news is I only got 2 parachutes. So the minister says, hey, I need one because I got to continue to save souls. So he takes one, and out the door he goes. Now the city alderman says that he's the smartest guy on the council, and the city really needs him. So the 13-year-old kid says, go ahead, mister, take mine. So out the door he goes. So the pilot looks at the kid with tears in his eyes and says, kid, that is the most admirable thing I've ever seen. And the kid says, well, not really. How so, says the pilot. He says, well, the kid says to him, well, you know that last guy who claims he's the smartest guy in the city council? He just went out the door with my backpack. The last parachute's still under my seat. See you on the ground.
Yeah, right. That's
anyway,
funny.
we were talking about a couple of topics in our time remaining here. This was one that really, well, actually, this is a state issue here. Should the state lower the drinking age to 19? I don't understand what's the point of that. And then at the same time, the governor they were starting to pass a bill that after your 4th DUI, that's a felony, I think.
Well, the whole argument is, how do you define the age of majority? Which at 18 you can vote, you can serve in the military, you can sign contracts, you can do everything else, but you can't drink.
Well, that was the big argument in the late 60s when we had the 18-year-old beer bars here for that same reason. Good morning, you're on Kenosha Today.
You think that's funny? The whole city alderman thing? You think that's funny?
He's back.
For humor these days?
He's back.
I think there should be a minimum age to do humor on the radio, and I think it should be like 70.
This is not humor. What makes you think this is humor?
Exactly. I think he's thinking
Part of the problem.
So when you took off with this kid's, I didn't mention any names, this is Anthony Kennedy, but as you took off at 6,000 feet with this poor 13-year-old kid's backpack, didn't you feel just a little foolish?
Nah, we changed the definition of gravity and floated on down to the ground. So,
you floated down? Oh, I'd love to see pictures of that, buddy. Anthony Kennedy floating to the ground. It's from 6,000 feet.
Like a delicate feather.
Yes. So what's on your mind?
Nothing. I've been listening in and on and off a little bit today. And that was about the 8th or 9th dig you took at us. I decided I'd give you a call.
Well, I better step up my game next week then.
Yeah. Only 8 or 9?
8 or 9? You weren't counting right.
Well, next week you're not even in control of the show.
That's triple the number of votes you got for mayor, so that's why.
I had that coming. Hey, did you hear the part about Todd Onstead, how he got? He's just walking in City Hall to pay his taxes, and the guy taps him on the back. And next thing you know, he's elected. Next thing you know, another guy taps him on the back, and he's in the assembly. I went about this all wrong.
Yeah. Well, my meteor rise was I was helping Everett Butler on his mayoral campaign, and he decided that he wasn't going to run for alderman. He could have ran for alderman and ran for mayor, and he'd been grooming a guy who he thought should take over the district once he tapped that guy, he still had some things he wanted to accomplish in his professional life, so he wasn't ready to take this over. So I kind of did like a Dick Cheney, man. We were like, well, okay, who should do this? Who should be the person that runs? And I came to the conclusion that I should be the one that runs.
Well, hey, we're not going to pick up the paper anytime soon and read an article of you coming out of the courthouse with a raincoat over your head and being accused of groping somebody now, are you?
Well, I don't think so.
Well,
there was that whole
okay.
misspent use. Yeah.
Scott, I'm 50 years old, and I've said and done some stupid things. And
calling this show is one of them.
For example, is one of is just one of the things that come up to mind. So I can't definitively say no. Nothing's ever going to come out. I just hope that people understand I was probably A, young, B, drunk, or C, young and drunk.
Welcome to our world.
Yeah.
All right.
Except we're old and drunk.
Hey, what are you having for Thanksgiving?
I'm going to be with my son and his daughter out in Colorado Springs.
Oh.
So he's in the Air Force, and we're going to go out there, and I think he's doing a turducken. He did one a couple of years ago.
If you're flying out to Kenosha today, Air Express leaves on Monday. You'll want to get there and bring your own parachute because we haven't had a lot of luck with this.
Well, stuff. Colorado is the land of certain edibles and things. I could possibly bring back some to liven up this show.
Hey, you know what? You haven't called us. You stiffed us for a couple months there, and somebody called in and asked what happened to you. We thought you had left the planet.
So my Saturdays are really weird in the fact that sometimes I'm out here driving the cab till like 3 or 4 in the morning on Friday till 3 or 4 in the morning on Saturday, so I wouldn't get up until after the show is over. Mm-hmm. And then today just happened to be a day where I got out in the cab early and was listening on and off.
Well, but, stay in touch.
But you know how diplomats have those diplomatic pouches and you can't look at what's inside the diplomatic pouch. I think that thing works for aldermen, so I think I can bring back enough edibles for everybody.
You got your sheriff's badge?
So that's what that pouch is, and when you're sitting down, that's what that pouch is for, right?
Hey, what are you looking so hard? Dang.
I can't miss it.
Maybe you're sexually harassing me on the radio, sir.
Yeah. That's why we record this for litigation.
This litigation. All right. Do I have another call here?
Yeah.
It's another alderman. One of your colleagues are calling in. Have a nice Thanksgiving.
Have a good day, guys.
Good morning. You're on Kenosha today.
Good morning, Mr. Barter.
Who's this?
Your program this morning was, again, incredibly brilliant.
Hi, Irish Ruth.
Thanks, Mom.
The ilk of the casino, and then people running around with their tails between their legs because they wanted to settle for less, and God wanted to settle for more. Look, if we can't handle Foxconn in this country, what are we doing in other countries sticking our nose in their business? Believe me, they will be able to handle Foxconn. Everything will work out wonderfully well, just as it was presented this morning.
You know, the snow here is getting onto that antenna, and I think we're losing her.
I don't know where she disappeared to. Off into the ether. That rain-snow mix really messes with the phone system here.
I better talk to Mr. Perry and see if we can, you got to get more tinfoil.
Right. Yeah.
Upgrade and get another roll of tinfoil up on that antenna because I hate to lose calls like this.
I know.
Anthony Kennedy. Boy, watching him float from 6,000 feet, man, that's
a sight to see.
Oh, boy.
That's kind of scary. that make you want to stay in your house and lock your doors.
Well, now he probably won't call us for another 2 months.
Well, he's a busy guy.
Yep.
Yeah, well.
He's got a, district to run, a cab to run.
And, calling us takes some thought process.
Takes some time.
I better
properly motivated.
Read a sponsor here.
A little unavailable.
A little unavailable. Yeah. So we had Tim from Lake Bluff who won the secret word with
Wishbone.
Wishbone. Hey, I wonder, does that stuff really work? You guys participate? Now you're supposed to take the wishbone out, right?
Right.
And let it dry out.
And then you let it
year.
out.
A year.
It takes about a week.
A week?
Yeah.
Geez, drying out in a week. I wonder which would dry out quicker, me or the turkey.
Turkey.
And then you're supposed to
gets the biggest piece.
Yeah, whoever gets the biggest piece, and you make a wish.
You make a wish.
And boy, I should find. I think I'll do that.
Yeah.
Maybe Matzer could give you some of the.
Oh yeah, I could have. We could have a wishbone breaking.
Right. Speaking of making wishes, we were discussing yesterday, if you see an explosion on the west side of town, it's Barter Manor blowing up when Scott blows out his birthday candles.
Oh, jeez.
after several Long Islands.
Right. I was worried about putting security cameras in. I forgot to call the fire department.
Right. Jeez. Something to keep an eye out for.
Right.
And if anybody wants to...
all the abandoned shoes flying through the air.
Well, most of them got them back.
Alligators flying through the air from the moat.
The moat,
yeah.
yep.
Uh-huh.
Guards flying from the tower.
From the towers, yeah.
I better take the electric charge that I put in on the concertina wire off.
Probably.
Because I don't want to add,
Add to the flames.
But this is, I had talked about this briefly. This was in Ohio. They canceled this execution for Alva Campbell because they couldn't find a vein. He was going to get canceled out by lethal ejection.
Yeah.
And because of his extensive health problems, they said they weren't confident they could carry out the execution. I'm going like, what's wrong with a bullet?
They don't do. They stopped doing that because it caused too much mental stress on the guys who actually shot the criminal.
They had planned to provide a wedge-shaped pillow to help him breathe during the procedure, but in the end, it was problems with his veins that led to the cancellations. Prison officials said it would be rescheduled. Now the guy's 69. He's been on death row for shooting an 18-year-old kid in a carjacking back in 1997. Then he escaped from custody, and he's already served 20 years on an earlier murder charge. Why are we worried about finding a vein?
Yeah, because it's about right, exactly. The humane thing to do.
Well,
latest thing.
Well, you say, look at he's not a well man either. Something else is going to kill him naturally here pretty quick. It looks like so. He's got all these
Theoretically,
all these other ailments. So.
The other problem is that the people of Ohio are actually paying to keep him alive.
That's correct.
Yeah, probably the tune of 50-some thousand a year,
if not more.
What does the cost of juicing a guy? What would that be? Anybody know?
They stopped doing that too because it's inhumane. Because it didn't guarantee death upon.
No. What I'm thinking, it costs to incarcerate a guy, let's say 50,000 or more.
Oh yeah.
But what does it cost to euthanize this guy?
Couple grand.
Yeah.
Couple grand, just in drugs.
Yeah, it's just a couple of drugs in a needle. Syringe is what? $2.
Well, you're
maybe?
the guy. You're a guy in the drug
maybe
business.
$2.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Deer have any dough? Slightly, $2.
He's been outside here.
And that's why we don't give him a mic.
Smelling pain films. We've got a couple more. Usually this is the time when we have to go beg and plead for somebody to win the secret word.
Yeah,
but
we took care of that early today. Who would have guessed?
Anyway, Thanksgiving's coming up, and